The chaotic world of Lemang. From the deranged cultists of Bonpa to the heavily fortified vaults of Fort Nerith. One might ask, what could possibly make the Gray Zone warfare experience better? Well, obviously causing oneself immense pain. Now, it's been a while since I last played this game, and apparently some fairly substantial updates have released in the meantime. But I've really already played through it too many times, I've played too many of the missions, I've made too much progress, and I've seen too much of the map. This time, I wanted the experience to be at least just a little bit different. So the first thing I did was completely wipe my max level character and start over. I want this to be from scratch. So I created a new character and I picked a faction I hadn't played before. Then I spent about 20 minutes organizing my starter supporter gear. Fun fact, I didn't plan to start from scratch. It just dawned on me. Since I only play PVE, I really should impose some completely unnecessary restrictions on myself that actively harm my gameplay experience. Also, I really didn't want to organize all that shit. I took all my gear, I went to the vendors, and I sold everything I owned, and it basically left me with a wallet, approximately $90,000, and a Glock. I was gonna get rid of my money too, and then I noticed that it was nighttime and overcast weather. In layman's terms for Gray Zone Warfare, that means it was pitch fucking dark. It was at this point that I established my first really serious rule. No NVIDIA filters to help me see at night. On that note, I did allow myself at least one luxury. I went over to Gunny and I purchased his finest sweatshop grade flashlight, and for maximum Amazon Prime drip, I slapped it on my Glock. Then I dead dropped my entire $90,000 life savings into the donation box. And just like that, my journey as a single but available scavenger had begun. There's 90,000 in the box here if anybody wants it. This is day one. Now I know you're probably thinking a couple of things. NVIDIA filters, really? Well, okay, I play PvE, I don't play against players, so bear with me on this one. Historically, I've used NVIDIA, but for this playthrough, I'm not going to do that. And it's totally going to go perfectly. I bet you're also considering you kept a wallet and you kept a Glock that's not really starting from scratch. I agree, but consider the alternative. You see, the thing is, I never claimed to be especially good at games, and Gray Zone's Warfare's barely existent melee mechanics combined with inky blackness of an overcast night, this would have absolutely left me stabbing vaguely in the direction of scrawny Vietnamese insurgents until I uninstalled the game after being repeatedly ventilated. My pistols. I absolutely quit that challenge way before checking whether or not I was ahead or behind. Now, I did impose what I think is going to be another pretty steep restriction, but I'll explain that one later once it's actually given me a reason to be furious with myself for imposing it. But without further ado, I was on my way to complete my first task Gunny punished me with for leaving the base on foot. Thanks, Gunny. Since this is Gray Zone, that just means I have to find a corpse. Fortunately, the new mission system shows you generally where it should be. Unfortunately, I have the intuition of a goldfish, so it took me about 15 minutes of randomly searching to finally discover... Nope. Oh, I have to accept it. But at least I got the best pair of sunglasses in the entire game out of it. Yes. Knowing it was unfair to my own challenge, at least a little bit, I really didn't want to rely on the Glock, and I was basically naked, so I needed supplies. I decided to go ahead and loot the resorts that were just around the base. That's also when I encountered my first pair of enemies, who were admittedly much closer to the base than I expected, but who also aimed just about as well as I do. This is also where I snagged my first primary, which was pretty cool, honestly, because I hadn't seen the Remington 788 in the game yet. Little did I know how absolutely awesome this rifle was going to be at night. Well, from this point forward, I had much to do. This wouldn't stop me from taking some time to absolutely appreciate and enjoy the lore. Unfortunately, this offered me a little reprieve before I was yet again thrust into combat. But this time, I had my trusty and exquisite hunting rifle to protect me.
Oh, I can't see the sights hardly. Just pretend I don't exist, bro.
Oh, well, I got the first guy. The damage to my ego after missing almost every single shot wasn't enough. So the universe fixed this, forcing me to switch back to my Glock because I hadn't put the spare magazine for the rifle back in my pocket so I could reload it. After this emotionally Pyrrhic victory, I did some more looting and I decided I should go back to base because it was time to drop off my Glock and my flashlight. Protected by the powers of Tokarev and 222 Remington, I was ready to push down further on the main road.
Hey, I still got a Glock in my pocket. How cool is that?
Although, admittedly, once I actually left the base, it really didn't take me a long time to realize that, well, nighttime fucking sucks. Little does nighttime know, my determination sucks much harder. Getting into a very brief skirmish with the locals, I go ahead and I pass the checkpoint that leads me south towards town. Honestly, resistance here was pretty light, and my aim wasn't completely geriatric. Then I spent a couple of minutes suffering with the ingeniously designed pitch-black sights on the 788 again. As you can probably tell, I'm not exactly having the time of my life in this clip, but I'm pretty well protected by clods ineptitude here. And of course the barrels or whatever the heck I'm hiding behind. This exchange continues until I basically exhausted my rifle ammo, but nobody was shooting at me, so I moved up. I loot what I need off the corpses, I take some ammunition, and I discover the restaurant. I'm kind of glad that I was not recording audio for some reason at this time, because when I round this corner, out of nowhere, this corpse shows up right in my center field of vision, and I just about pass out. Now, I'm pretty new to OBS. I'm reasonably confident that it was at exactly this time that I accidentally hit my push to mute button. Honestly, even if I had captured what I'd said, I'd probably have to censor it anyway. I'm very quick to admit that I'm very easy to jump scare, and depending on how long I do this and post these videos, you will probably see me get jump scared by a bullet or two. So basically after this, I did a little bit more looting, I picked up my balls, and I decided that I was going to work on some missions. I'll spare you most of the details because, well, most of the details are just me running into things I can't see. But, basically, I finish up one mission, and then on my way to the next one, or I guess at the location of the next one, I get into a little campfire skirmish that works out pretty well for me. Now, I think this explains a lot. Apparently, to the locals, killing the locals is really hot. So it's at this time that Artisan decides that she's going to give us her number. If you know anything about my ex, if you know anything about Artisan, she's really just waiting to stab you in the stomach at the first possible chance. She's incredibly belittling, and she creates incredibly awkward tension for no reason whatsoever. However, we are now in contact with a woman.
I see this as an absolute win.
Now, at this point in the game, I've actually been playing for a couple of hours. It's 4 a.m., and I have a life. Sort of. So, I do one last quick mission. I hit the nearby checkpoint, find a funny blue hat, and then I hit the closest outpost to say hi to my new bestie. I check out one of her cool new pistols that actually looks like a 9mm chambered Tokarev. I manage my disappointment that the sewing kit can't be used as a medical item, and I went to sleep. After bumping around in the dark with the gun for a while, I conclude my first day. I have successfully made almost no meaningful progress. I started with a Glock, and I finished with a .32 caliber pea shooter. I insist it's not a downgrade. This is a strategic reduction, and it's perfectly average, okay? Most importantly, and crossing my fingers here, I haven't needed to expose my other rules yet or introduce any other constraints. So that's also a plus. And those constraints and rules will definitely be fun and won't make me angry at all. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm definitely open to suggestions and feedback. Feel free to drop a comment below, and have a good week.